start. It's Parallel Frequencies with Just Blane and Coco over there, who's here to give me the side eye whenever I need it, because that's right. That's what we're doing.
To be giving anybody side eye.
Well,
I'm over here in my witch shirt today.
I saw that. I was going to ask, what is that shirt? What do you got on there? What does that say? Wild and free.
Wild and free.
Nature witch. And a dragon
got
on
this
there.
at the Daybreak Farmers Market.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Drag.
Like a House of Dragons type thing you got going on there. I like that.
Yeah, I'm from the House Targaryen. Oh, yeah. So,
yeah.
Dragon blood.
I'm hyped about that show coming back too. That's going to be a good one. I cannot wait for that one. Huge Game of Thrones fan. You know what? That's a show that we'll have to touch on. Is the new Game of Thrones?
Yeah, that'll be one of our rewatches. Rewatch Game of Thrones.
Honestly, we may have to watch that one in real time and break it down the week of the episodes. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it will fit in to Parallel Frequencies schedule that we're putting out for you guys. Look, you want to go through that, Courtney? Should we?
Yes. I mean, if there's anything that a former teacher like me loves, it's a good schedule. You guys, I've been getting my color-coded little Post-it notes and my great little calendar and everything already. And so I came up with Movie Monday. So those of you who love when we talk about the movies and we break those down, we talk about directors, writers, all that good stuff. We have TV Tuesday.
Ooh.
You know, because we're rewatching or watching new shows that are coming out. Wednesday, I really had to work hard on the alliteration on this one, but it's Wistful Wednesday because it's nostalgia, right? It's all of those old movies and shows that we watched when we were kids or when we were young adults, we were growing up, and we're like, oh, we got to do a shout out to this movie or show that we love. That can be movies or TV shows. So we've got a lot of room to be creative there. We have Just Blane's Trailer Park Thursdays.
All right. For podcast
I don't know why,
discovery,
but
for podcast discovery out there, we throw some crazy ones out there. And what we got Friday?
And Friday, that's my favorite. That one is in my mind, the image of the question mark on Nintendo games. It's the feature Friday.
Ooh.
What's the feature of the week? Whatever randomized thing that comes up. And sometimes it's going to be a total mystery or surprise. So Feature Friday.
I love this. This is all news to me. And what I want people out there to do is tell us what day of the week you're looking forward to most. I want people out there fighting over, is this Tuesday's best day or the Trailer Park is my favorite.
Wait. Yeah.
I do have to throw out one idea though. Let's do a name change for Tuesday and let's call it Tube Tuesday. I like Tube Tuesday, right?
Okay, now for you young audience members who have maybe been born in this century,
let them know.
TVs used to have what we called a tube to be able to work and watch things on. Back before the digital, what is it that replaced that? They don't have tubes anymore, do they? They have.
Well, they got the LCD screens and the chips and the motherboards and the OLED and whatever else is out there now. Yeah, but
TV be like this thick in the back or like a whole box. Right?
The first big screen I had was one of those giant box. It took up half the room, half your living room. It was giant and it was huge, but you couldn't have nobody over to the house to view it with you because it was so damn big. You had to get rid of a couch.
Whole living room.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to get rid of a couch or something to even get in there.
Definitely wasn't being mounted to the walls like today's TVs.
No. That was
have a big screen and mount it, right?
You know what I think the next step will be though, is we won't have screens at all. It'll just be projections, and it'll be 8K projectors out there. They're already out there. CES in Las Vegas is going on right now. I wish I was down there. I love seeing the new technology and all that stuff come out. And that's where they show off the clear TVs. There's literally TVs coming out that are clear. You see through it. I mean, I don't know what the point is, but that's a window, right?
That made me think of in the 90s when the computer monitors became futuristic and they were still this big. They still had the big old back to them, but they were like clear. So
Yeah.
we all thought that was like the future. We want you to see the parts inside of it.
It was the
That's
future.
cool.
I think it was the future for then, at least. I mean, you know, everything changes. Nostalgia, all that kind of stuff. I'd love to have one of those giant TVs now, but you know, like, where would I put it in here? I don't even know. Like, there's nowhere to put one of those.
No, I can't fit it in here. This is the cave. The cave is tiny. Yep.
Did you?
Just me.
Now, I know next week is when we're going to get into to the Movie Monday, the Tube Tuesday. I got to say right now, though, Movie Monday, we'll tease it now. It's going to be Knives Out. We're doing Knives Out. What is it? Wake Up Dead Man? Was that the name? That's the name of it? That's the name of it?
Yes. Wake Up Dead Man, Knives Out. It's trending. It's people's favorite. We've got to get to it. We've got to talk about it.
I love it. I've seen it. It's yeah.
Benoit Blanc.
Oh my gosh, man! I wish I had his patience. We'll talk about that on Movie Monday, but I'm looking forward to Tube Tuesday next week when we finally get to talk about Stranger Things season 5. Is that what we're doing? We're going to talk about it, break it down. The finale?
Yep. And I only just have to apologize. We're not getting to it right away, but in my mind, all those freaks, is that what we're calling it? Our fan club.
That's right,
everybody who's sitting there just going, I can't wait for them to talk about season 5. Season 5's already done. Why aren't they even talked about it yet? So I'm going to let you sit on the edge of your seats and wait for us to get to it. We're getting to it. I promise it's on the schedule.
You know what, though? We might. If we did it right now, we could be premature, according to a bunch of the people out there on the internets right now. They think, and people have been breaking this show down, looking for Easter eggs, looking for all this, and they think that episode 8 is not the finale. And there's going to be an episode 9 that drops. For some reason, they're saying January 7th, 2 days from now. And they said that the theory is that Vecna was behind the finale. And that was why it was all happy and everything. But he was controlling it. And we're going to really see the dark ending to Stranger Things. Now, I got to show you something that might kind of lead to this being a real... It's either that or Netflix is playing in. But if you go to Netflix's site, right? If you go to Netflix and right now, if you type in there, fake ending, look at this. What comes up?
Fake ending, and it's Stranger Things.
And it says new episode. Why? Why would that? Why would fake ending in the Netflix search bar only lead to Stranger Things? Is there something to this theory? I'm getting hyped up about it.
If they didn't do this, if they didn't do an episode 9, they're probably sitting around going, oh, everybody thinks there's an episode 9. Maybe we should have done that.
I know, right?
They're probably regretting it if they didn't right now, right?
But it's got me kind of thinking, like, man, it may not be over. It might not be over. Like, it also could just be a bunch of, nerd fans out there like me, you.
Hoping.
Coming up with, I mean, let's just be real. The Duffer Brothers wrote it and ended it like they wanted to. But if they did have this trick up their sleeve, and there was this secret episode 9, they even got a name for it, the Conformity Gate. Like, I don't know.
Interesting.
So if they didn't do it, then someone else, all these fans need to come together, and we need to write this bad boy and get this episode up and see what happens. But Netflix playing into it and having fake ending go to Stranger Things, to me, is, I don't know what's going on there. Like, that's weird to me. That's weird. There could be something to it.
Okay, here's my thought. Possibly. Let's just
theorize.
Set this aside as a theory. What if they have a plan B ending just in case the ending that they put out was not well received? So if everybody was like, that sucked, I hated that ending, they messed it up, they did so bad, which, by the way, I'm one of those for Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I was one who, when it ended, was like, wait, what? Fix it, please. But anyway, maybe they just, were like, let's have a cushion. Let's have a failsafe just in case. So if it ends and everyone's like, that was great, best ending of a show ever, we all love it, then they're like, okay, good. We're good. We're done. That's it. Mic drop. We're out.
I'm going to add one more layer to this, and this is happening tonight. But tonight there's a crazy crossover happening of Stranger Things and WWE. They're going to have the upside down version of Monday Night Raw tonight on Netflix. Why would you have a Stranger Things WWE collaboration after 10 years? And I know Netflix and WWE just got together in the last 2, or, it's been a year. It's a year today, I think. But why would now, after the show's already over with, why would this be the time to have a Stranger Things WWE? They've even told all the crowd, they're like, hey, dress in Stranger Things clothes. It's gonna get wild. It's gonna be crazy tonight.
Wow. That's fun.
So, yeah, there's a lot of Stranger Things stuff still going on. And I know they got some spinoffs coming. They got Stranger Things, Tales of 85 or something coming. They said the Duffer Brothers did say that they are going to do a spinoff and show where that crystal, that rock came from. So that's going to be fun. The briefcase with the rock.
Yeah.
Vecna's powers that we were like, wait a minute, where's this rock come from? Well, we're gonna
that was
find
all
out.
set up for something, right? Because, now there's this whole prequel mythology that we didn't get to see all of. So definitely set that up for the future.
Well, let's talk about and play the episode where we talk about the Stranger Things phenomenon and why it gets so big and why it is as big as it is. It's still growing. That's what I'm saying. It's over. The finale has hit, unless you talk to some of those, dark web people out there and say, oh, there's episode 9 coming. If episode 9 dropped, there would immediately be this push out there to say, oh, there's an episode 10 too. Like, I promise you, that'd be the first thing out within 30 seconds.
It would never end.
Yeah, so I think it's over. I'd love to see if it wasn't, but I'm not going to have my hopes up. But let's go ahead and check out this episode, and then the rest of this week, we're going to have 2026 TV shows to watch, 2026 movies that you must see. We're going to do a trailer park. We'll have a feature Friday, and then ready next week, Knives Out Monday, all brand new content. We're going to have a guest. We're going to have a guest on. The director of Coherence is going to come on and join us and talk about Coherence. I can't wait for that, but right now, once again, roll the episode. You know what? It's time to get to Stranger Things Season 1, our overview. We did the recap. That was fun. But this is where we're just going to kind of dig a little deeper into this, like I said earlier, global phenomenon. Overnight. It was an overnight success. Season 1 dropped in 2016, and I remember that weekend. I remember I was working for Big Boy's Neighborhood in LA, and I remember all of us start texting each other about this Stranger Things show.
Oh, yeah. I remember that too.
And that's what we talked about, and it was crazy. And it was this out of nowhere show that had a fictional town, Hawkins, Indiana. It's actually filmed in Jackson, Georgia. Have you ever been to Jackson, Georgia?
You know what? I'm not sure. I've spent some time in my childhood, but again, I grew up in Indianapolis, and so we went down to Alabama, Florida when I was a kid for vacations and stuff. So I'm not exactly sure which area we were in, but I remember what it looked like. I remember the landscape, and really, I mean, other than like when you get into like the marshes of Florida and like that kind of look, it's still very reminiscent of my childhood in Indianapolis. Like, I still look at it and say, that feels like my childhood.
I'll just say it. If you haven't been to Jackson, Georgia, but you've been to any small town suburb in the 80s, you've been to Jackson, Georgia, because that's what it was. It looked so familiar to all of us until Will Byers vanishes. And then things get a little wild. 11 showed up. She's been ripped out of a sci-fi novel. The whole thing starts coming down to where it's Steven Spielberg and Stephen King colliding with a John Carpenter synth-filled soundtrack, really. And what 80s kid, like seriously, what 80s kid was not going to get caught up with all this nostalgia and this feeling, you know?
Yeah, a couple of things stood out to me when I first saw it. I remember 2016. I remember we were just moved back to Utah, and we were in like a tiny little 2-bedroom apartment while we were trying to sell one house and buy another house. So we were just kind of like crammed in.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not much to do. I was there with a 2-year-old taking care of my son most of the time. And yeah, and then that show came on. I was like, yes, something to watch. Like, I was excited. And my first thought was very reminiscent of my favorite show, X-Files. Yeah. I was like, okay, we're talking about weird paranormal things. I'm loving this, the vibe. And rewatching it for the recap too, the same thing that struck me was, that 80s nostalgia, everything. They did such a good job of not making it kitschy 80s. Like, I know you watched like Meet the Goldbergs, sitcom, and they really kind of like play up the 80s. I mean, everything's a little bit brighter and a little bit more like big hair, and they really play it up, kind of like if you were to have an 80s party and everybody dresses up. So they really go all out. This show didn't do that. It was very much like, okay, this is familiar to me. Joyce Byers' home with the wood paneling and the old couches. Hopper's asleep on his like old, what is that, like knitted couch?
Yeah. You get the rotary
phone. Like feelings. Mm-hmm.
Rotary phones. I mean, you know what? The Duffer Brothers, they're the ones who created this whole thing. We didn't really talk about the Duffer Brothers in our recaps or anything, but they are the genius minds behind this. And they pitched this show as Stephen King meets Steven Spielberg. It's a mix of horror and heart. Really, the nostalgia. They knew what they were doing. They knew how to tap into my age. I'll say my age because I'm not going to put yours out there. But they knew how to tap into that what we liked. I even joked with my wife the other day. I said, you know what? There's going to be a Stranger Things remake in like 2050, and it's going to be set in 2020. And it's going to hit the same way. But this show did hit other people, other genres of people.
Demographic.
It did hit other age groups. Yeah. So I don't think that is the only thing that kept it popular was the nostalgia, because there's other people that are outside of my age range, both older and younger, who both love this show. So it's one of those things. It's like a phenomenon. That's the only word I can come up with.
Yeah, it hit at the right time where people were looking at the 80s as kind of vintage. Like, it's, something that throws back and kind of circles back to the same fashions and things like that. So I think when it started up, people were like, oh yeah, 80s vintage. They liked that. And they, if they do a remake and they talk and it goes back to 2020, at least they won't have to work as hard to have the different characters and groups that are always doing different things to communicate with one another.
Yeah, right.
They had to work real hard. And I put a note about that in that the walkie-talkies, even just like straight out the gate, episode 1, season 1, when the teacher, Dr. Clark, he has like the ham radio, and he's like, this will reach all the way to Australia. He's like setting it up that these radios, these walkie-talkies that the kids are using are going to be a pivotal and necessary tool throughout the entire series for them to be able to communicate with each other all the time. Insane.
I think in the 2050 remake, I think the kids are just going to have like iPads, and they're going to be in their own room, and they're just going to be playing Roblox instead of D&D. Yeah. It's not going to be Dungeons and Dragons. It's going to be a bunch of kids with a screen in front of them. But the Dungeons and Dragons thing, and the 80s, and the nerd, that was the easiest way to establish what this show was kind of about from the very beginning scene. That they're playing a D&D game. And it's like, if you look at that scene now, you're like, everything in this show is right here.
I thought the same thing. I did. I was like, we cannot not talk about, especially because as I started to think about it, and I did watch it all for the recap, and I might be missing something out there. So if you're like huge Stranger Things fan and you know the answer to this question, please write it in, because I may have missed something. Do the scientists have a name for the creatures? do they call them anything? Because we only know the creatures from the Upside Down. We only know the Upside Down.
Yeah.
We only call it that. And we only use the name Demogorgon. All of that comes from D&D. All that comes from the kids. And that's how we, the audience, knows everything. We call it those things. So I was thinking about it, and I could not remember a single time that I remember the scientists ever saying a different name.
I don't either. Especially not in season 1, for sure.
Yeah, no.
I don't think it happens in season 1 at all. But I can, let me see. I can remember.
Or the mind flip, too. That comes from D&D.
Yep. Oh, you know what? There is one difference I could think of in season 1, and that is the Upside Down, because Dustin calls it the Shadow of Veils from the book. And then they.
Oh.
So there is a little bit of difference there, but I don't know. Upside Down may be in D&D too, but that was just a nickname.
Well, that's when they flip the board over and they're in the Upside Down, right?
Yep, he's going through the guide and he finds the Shadow of Veils, and it's the same thing as the Upside Down. They flip the board over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact for you, that scene, the D&D opening scene, that's the very first scene that they all filmed. The Duffer Brothers were nervous about the kids' chemistry. I'm going to say they nailed it. Like right out of the gate, they nailed that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy to me that was the very first scene that they did.
The bonding, their little bonding scene. I love that. And that Mike mentions to his mom, they were playing for 10 hours.
Yeah.
Just brings you back to when like pre-video games and these like worlds that were created in video games. This is what the kids were doing. Like maybe the nerdy kids.
Yeah.
I'll grant you that. But that you could play a game like that with your friends for 10 hours straight. How fun. I wish I had played D&D and I've never played it, but it sounds so fun.
Hey, we can get a D&D group together. Why don't we do that?
Yeah. Somebody needs to teach me how to play. I love the callbacks to folklore and mythology. Obviously, I'm super into that stuff. If you listen to Practically Magic or, any of my other stuff, you know that that's like a huge thing for me. So in Celtic folklore, there being a lot of references to the Anuvan or the other world, which is in that realm, in that folklore, you can literally be walking in the forest, walking anywhere, even like arrive on an island from a boat. And without even knowing it, you can step into another world where time and space is different. And so when I first saw this show, probably way back in 2016, when I first saw it, that was what came to my mind, was the Upside Down being a place that somehow exists in the same place as the present world we understand, but it's just not quite there.
Yeah. and no spoilers, but they do dive into that thought later on in later seasons. So it does kind of play into it. I love that aspect.
It goes with your mind too, because you're like, wait, so how is this existing in the same reality? And yet, like, so when the creature took Will, where did it come from, and then where did it go, and how does it exist in the real world and also in the Upside Down without going through? Where's the portal? It just makes you question everything.
What about the D&D game? Did you see that had real life relations to one another? Demogorgon, is that a real thing? Like, what is that? What are the demons that they did encounter? Are there real life, alternatives to that? So I want to hear some of that from your perspective.
Well, I mean, to that point, in the rewatch, it's so interesting to go back and rewatch it now that you've seen like all the way up to, like I said, we watched season 5, episode 1. Like we're way beyond all of this. So to go back and do episode 1 of season 1 and watch Will, tiny little baby Will,
I know,
with his cute little eyes and his cute little bowl haircut. It's so cute. They're facing the Demogorgon, right? In that game that you talked about. And and it's Will who has to roll the dice, and either he has to do a 13 or more if he's going to fireball it, or he could have cast a protection spell. But he rolls the dice, they lose it, and then the last thing he says to Mike before he bikes away, and then of course he's going to be disappeared after that. But he says, I rolled a 7, the Demogorgon got me. And man, rewatching it now, knowing everything that happens, it was just like, oh my gosh, they just like told the whole story right there in the first scene.
They did.
Incredible.
They really did. It's fascinating to me how humans use demons to explain the unknown. It's the same thing here at Hawkins, the Upside Down. It's the unknown. Another thing about the Upside Down and you saying it was all in the same place, it reminds me of like time travel movies, trying to figure out, well, what about this? And then, you know, it does make you ask a bunch of questions. There's some laws of physics broken. I think that's the fun of it though, right?
Yeah. And we see this so much in so many different storytelling. The Wizard of Oz, right? Like, where is Oz? Somehow it's a different place, but it's not. I mean, that's the stories that we've been telling for centuries. I mean, that's why I love the folklore and where that comes back to that, because like you could just walk through a doorway or you could walk through anything and end up in another world and not even know it, right? But but the thing that I notice about those stories is, and like the Wizard of Oz, is someone will have a whole adventure, the Chronicles of Narnia, just thought of another one. Have a whole adventure, have a whole lifetime, have a whole, hero's journey. But then when they make it back to their regular life or the regular world, it's been like an hour.
Yeah.
Like time and space don't necessarily follow the same rules in different places. I haven't seen that yet with the Upside Down in Stranger Things. As far as I know, time exists the same.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a whole lot of play there. But could you imagine if they did? Can you imagine how the series, like how that would have gone if they had been like having these whole adventures with Vecna and like the Upside Down and everything going on there, and then come back and something that they did there impacts something in the future.
You might be
in the real world.
You might be onto something, because think about this, and I'm not sure if this happened all in season 1, but I know there are multiple references to the movie Back to the Future in Stranger Things.
Yes.
So you might be onto something. We're going to have to save this out and see what happens, but I think you could really be onto something with that thought. Like, that's
interesting. Yeah, and I've been reading fan theories and stuff, which are awesome and great. And you can take them all with a grain of salt, because it's fun to listen to hear what they have to say. But then you're like, I have to forget that too, so that I can focus on what's really happening. But I've seen some really amazing fan theories where it's like, what if Will never left the Upside Down? He's still there. What if this is all entirely a D&D game that the kids are playing?
Oh my gosh.
Like, all in their heads, all an adventure that they made up.
Oh my gosh. You mean pulling the old, it was all inside of a snow globe?
Right.
Yeah. What was that show?
I hope not. It's been referenced all the time. Yeah. What was that from? I don't remember. It was
Saint Elsewhere. Saint Elsewhere was this great show. Went on for a couple seasons, and then you find out that the whole thing happened inside of this snow globe that this little girl had. You're like, wait, what?
Well,
that's
people are still
alert.
talking about the show Lost, and people are still talking about, like, were they all dead? What was that island? That show had a lot of like time travel and otherworldly, and where are those people exactly? And some people aged and some people didn't, and why? And I don't even know. I watched Lost and I still don't know. I'm still lost.
We should add that to our list. We should do Lost, because I've seen Lost at least 5 times, and I've seen it 2 times chronologically. Somebody out there years ago put Lost chronological order, scene by scene, and I've watched it that way too. I am all about some Lost. I've talked to Maggie, I've talked to a couple of these people from the show. We'll talk about Lost. Let's get
forward.
Let's get back to the Stranger Things 1. Have you ever had an experience where you went through a portal or something like that, like you're talking about?
I am obsessed with portals. I'm obsessed. I truly believe that there is an energetic shift that happens when we walk through any kind of portal. And I mean doorways. I don't know if I've shown you, but I have a series of paintings that I did that's not finished. It's in a process, but I took so many pictures of doorways, archways, bridges, staircases when I went on my pilgrimage in England.
Yeah, okay.
I'm obsessed with portals, and I call it Portals, my series of paintings that I did, because truly, and this isn't just Celtic folklore, but this is, across the board. I'm sure you can go into every culture and find some references to portals, to doorways, to crossing a river being a barrier, right? Anything that's a barrier, that means you're crossing from one realm into another. And I mean, why does it happen neurologically? What happens in our brain when we walk from one room to another? Say you're going from the living room to the kitchen. You walk in there and you go, why was I here?
Yeah.
What was it that I was getting? Why does that happen? Think about it. You walked through a doorway. You walked through a portal. You walked through a space where one space was meant for something and that space is meant for something else. And your brain completely shifts. That's real. That's not like magical, Hollywood, whatever. That's real.
You got me.
Right?
I usually chalk it up to ADHD, but you got me thinking now, like, maybe
there's something they've studied it too. I mean, there's something neurological that happens where your brain has a certain frequency that it's on when it's in a room for a purpose. Like if you're in the kitchen, your purpose there is to cook and to eat food and whatever.
Yeah.
But when you walk into a living room, your brain shifts because the purpose of that room is different. So if you were walking into the living room to get your phone or something, but you were in the kitchen when you thought of it, you have to go back to the kitchen to remember what it was that you were trying to get.
Yeah.
And I think that's incredible. I think that's just one example of how shifts and things can happen. And yeah, there's a ton of different ways you can look at that. But definitely, I'm obsessed with portals.
That's fun to think about. That's really fun to think about. What was your
favorite?
favorite?
And if you notice, there are kind of these little hints to portals, and I don't know if that's conscious or if that's something that the words are not coming.
Yeah.
The Duffer Brothers, I don't know if they were like conscious about doing that, but you'll notice that they put some emphasis on doorways and things like that in Stranger Things. There was one scene where they were looking for Will in episode 1, and you're seeing it from inside Byers' castle.
Yeah.
Where it's inside the castle and you're looking out through the doorway at Jonathan and Joyce, who are calling for Will, right? I just noticed that, and I was kind of making notes of like all the different times in the show. If you notice, portals, doorways, windows, mirrors, things are emphasized.
I love that. Great point. I'm gonna have to start looking for that. Who's your favorite character or favorite episodes from season 1?
Oh, so glad you asked.
Yeah,
I would say Dustin has to be my favorite.
Dustin.
I love that they wrote in his condition into the script and into his character. And I don't know, he's kind of the comedy relief, super lovable, and I don't know, he's just my favorite.
Yeah, he really does. What is that he has? It's something with his teeth, and it's got a crazy name.
Something dysplasia. I'm gonna look it up because I don't want to say.
Gaten Matarazzo. That's his name. It's
yes.
cleidocranial dysplasia. That's what it was. It was written into the show. It was written into the show by the Duffer Brothers to raise awareness. I don't think I'd ever heard of it. Before.
We probably know people that have had it. I mean, I don't know how rare it is, but like we probably come across people not even realized and wouldn't have realized. And so great for the show to put that out there so that when people do come across people with it, they're super aware. They're just like, oh yeah, like Dustin on Stranger Things.
Like Dustin, exactly. And they made him a cool character, cool kid, all that kind of stuff. He grows up real fast. He starts dropping F-bombs later on seasons, but this one they're all
and
still
I love him for that too.
Yeah, but But I think
Can't help that.
I think he is a really strong character. And all the kids in this Millie Bobby Brown as 11. Apparently she nailed the audition in front of the Duffer Brothers, and they were like, "Yep, that's our pick," you know. She's still crushing it out there today doing stuff, and
I know.
I think she really only got better as it all went on, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just the best to go back and rewatch again season 1 after all the seasons that have come out. Go back season 1 and you see her as that little tiny girl, and she's just in the zone. The stare that she gives when she's when she first arrives at Benny's diner and he's talking to her and she's just like silent and staring at her with those big brown eyes, it kills me.
Finn Wolfhard as Mike comes out of the gate, crushes it too. They're believable. That's the crazy thing. These are kids at the time of filming this, and every one of them in there is totally believable to me. You know, Finn, you had Gayton, Caleb McLaughlin, he plays Lucas.
Their chemistry together. Yeah, when they're sitting on the couch and Hopper's interviewing them, like trying to find Will, and the 3 boys are just like fighting, and Hopper can't get a word in, and every time he asks a question, they start like picking at each other and fighting with each other, and it's arguing. I watched that scene as a mom of 3 boys, and I was like, this is so familiar to me. It's almost triggering.
That's funny. And Hopper, played by David Harbour, he's another incredible actor and fills this role perfectly. They couldn't cast a better person than him. He was going through some hard times before he got cast as Hopper. That's, down low, just desperate, just going through some mental stuff. And him cast as Hopper gave him an arc in life. Like it really did. I have seen, multiple interviews and stuff about that. And I think that's also incredible that a fictional story by the Duffer Brothers gave this man basically a reason to live in some ways. I think that's really telling to the storytelling again, and to the writing, the acting, all of it, But he's incredible too. Who else are we leaving out for the actors for this?
Yeah. Well, who stands out for you, like top of the cream of the crop?
Cream of the crop for me, and it comes from a specific episode in season 1, and that's episode 3, Holly Jolly. This is the one that makes cultural moments galore.
Yeah.
It's the Christmas lights.
Yep.
Joyce Byers, Winona Ryder, to me, is the standout. She's in full panic mode. Everybody thinks she's losing her mind, but but honestly, she's just got a mother's intuition to know that her son is still alive.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So what's she doing in this episode? She strings up the Christmas lights all over the house, paints letters on the wall. Will spells out "run" from the upside down. This is all nightmare fuel right here to me. All of this happening on set and behind the scenes, Winona so committed to Joyce's character that she wrote pages of backstory for her. She wanted Joyce to feel real. She wanted it to be a single mom who's been through hell and refuses to give up.
Yep.
Her desperation's real. Like, that's crazy to me. This episode also gave us a great hashtag. Hashtag Justice for Barb. Became a cultural meme phenomenon here because Barb disappears. It's wild. But, yeah, Winona to me crushed this season. And I think she rubbed off on everybody else, too. I think it really did. When you got somebody over there writing pages of backstory, it would be hard for you as a young actor wanting to maybe do this for a career to not look across there and say, I better learn from her.
Yeah. Yeah, she really gives, and again, this isn't just her, it's the whole vibe of the show, I think, is realistic in that as a single mom trying to raise these boys, trying to work enough to, so they can survive. I mean, you just feel it. You feel the exhaustion and the realness. I mean, she's not, I don't know. She's not all dolled up. She definitely is like this mom. You get this vibe that she's like the real mom, like the real single mom trying to make it work. And it gives me this throwback to, I love sitcoms. I know you do too.
Oh, yeah.
I can't help myself, but it gives me, Roseanne. Roseanne was my favorite, my favorite sitcom growing up, but I loved that they didn't pretty anything up. Do you know what I mean? Like they showed a real American lower middle class family, like trying to survive one bill at a time, just trying to make their bills that month kind of a family.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the vibe I got, like Joyce and Jonathan. The whole reason that they didn't know Will was missing until the next morning was because Joyce was working a shift and Jonathan decided to work a shift too. And she gets mad at him because she's like, we're not supposed to work shifts at the same time. And he's like, I'm just trying to earn some more money. And you just feel it. You feel it. It's real.
That desperation with fighting monsters makes this place almost miserable. But at the same time, we want to be there. We want to be in Hawkins. Like we as a viewer,
salt of the earth people.
Yeah, as a viewer, you want to help somehow. You want to get in the Hawkins and you want to help. You feel like you're a fly on the wall watching this stuff happen, and you're like, oh my gosh, no, you got to do this. But I think that's part of it. That's part of the whole appeal is that you feel like you're a part of it. We put ourselves into the posters for the recap, and I look at those and I'm like, it looks like we were in the show.
Yeah, I'm not sure it even really looks like me, but I'll go with it.
Not me either, but like it's close enough.
Yeah, those iconic things. The Eggo waffles and Eleven's obsession with Eggo waffles. I totally relate. I think I had an obsession with Eggo waffles when I was that age too. Yep. So relatable while also being just an absolute break from reality completely.
Oh yeah. And we didn't get into some of the other characters, but they become more prominent in the other seasons. And I think we should do this for season 2, 3, and 4. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we could talk about Nancy, Jonathan, Joe Keery's Steve. What a flip in an arc of a character. One of the biggest flips.
He was not likable in season 1.
And now,
I'm like, what a jerk.
By season 5, you're like, oh my God, everybody's bowing down to this guy, But it doesn't take long to see this incredible arc. I think it's one of the craziest arcs in a TV character's history, really, to see him go from what he is in season 1, and we won't spoil the rest of it, but yeah, I want to get into him a little bit deeper. But Stranger Things season 1, like it's one more time, cultural phenomenon, once in a lifetime, call it all of those things. We hear that a lot these days too, once in a lifetime, but this might have actually been one of those that doesn't come around very often. It doesn't come around that a show can make you feel this way. And you know what? It doesn't come around where I talk about a show for this long. So
that you can have conversations last almost an hour for just one season. And that's why we wanted to do this deep dive into it. Not just so that you can learn about the show. Listeners, we know you've seen it. We don't want to do that for you, but I am hoping people will give us their stuff. I want to hear their favorite characters and why. I want to hear their thoughts. I want an answer to my question whether or not the scientists actually named the creatures themselves. And I have one more question for fans. Because we're talking about season 1, I want to know, because we know what happens later, right? And I'm if you don't, I'm spoiling something, so just FYI. So we know that Vecna or One or Henry gets pushed into that other dimension. He's in that other dimension we call the Upside Down, right? I want to know, were the monsters like the Demogorgon already there when he got there? Or are they somehow his creation? And if they were already there, is he just using his powers to get into all their minds and use them to his will? Is that what's happening? Because I'm not totally clear on that, and I want listeners to write in. I want to know what you know. Give me your stuff.
I love that. I'll throw a theory out there for you right now. Since the Duffer Brothers love to pull from all the other 80s stuff and all that, maybe, just maybe, Vecna is similar to Pennywise the Clown from It, and he feeds off the fear, and D&D, Demogorgons, and all that stuff. That would be the biggest fear of those kids. That's their biggest thing in their life. So maybe he's got some similar powers to Pennywise. They like that Stephen King. They like the Stephen King stuff, and that's Pennywise's. That's his whole gimmick, you know. He feeds off the fear. So there's a crazy theory for you. I don't know. It's probably already out there.
I can see that making sense, because I've been asking myself why he can make himself look like he looks in the later seasons. So we'll get to that. We'll throw that forward to our next episode.
Let's wrap this one up. Hit us up with those answers to the questions. Parallel frequencies. That looks like what we're rolling with. We'll probably have an Instagram channel, something out there soon. You'll see all this on our own channels. Just be on the lookout and hit that subscribe button for us. We'd appreciate it. That was fun.